What's going on, folks? Sean here from Hammerhead. Time for the Sunday night Spitball. I got my tea tonight, Earl Grey. You'd think I was an Englishman, but I'm not. And just coming on here to say hi to you folks and tell you what's been going on in the lunacy known as my world here. So what's been going on out there in internet land tonight? I've got quite a situation on my hands with the old Ranger there. I don't know if you guys have seen. You haven't, because I haven't put the video out about it, but I put a few of those community posts on my page talking about what's been going on. Well, about a week ago, I started the thing up, and it was running like a bag. And I noticed that the fuel pressure was almost non-existent. It was on 1 or 2 pounds. So I piled the filter off before the carburetor, and it was plugged solid. And I mean plugged. Well, I found out why. I had my suspicions that what it was, and it turns out that I was right. So I took the gas tank off of it, and of course there's about a half an inch of rust particles in the bottom of it. So I don't know, like up here in Nova Scotia, if you leave gas, especially this ethanol gas, if you leave them in your fuel tank half full, it turns to crap really quick. Like moisture and humidity builds up inside that steel tank. Next thing you know, you got rusticles in there. And actually, I put it in a bucket so I could really look at what came out of the gas tank. And I let it all, I drained the fuel off of it. And it was like a fine powder. Like you could blow it and it would just go like a dust, but it was all rust particles. So obviously that's what's been going on with that. So anyway, we're gonna order ourselves up a new fuel tank, and then I'm gonna use a process that I've used on motorcycle fuel tanks forever and works awesome. It's a product called POR15 motorcycle tank restoration. Mr. Will, what's going on? Dr. It's Hot Rod Rehab technical difficulties. I'm sure they'll be along. Yes, Will, just like glitter, man. It was like a fine powder, just enough to plug the hell out of everything. So anyway, I got a video coming up this week about it, showing me taking the carburetor off the truck and taking it all apart, and what I found when I ran it through the ultrasonic cleaner a few times. You're going to be amazed at the amount of garbage that was in it. I'll tell you right now, it was just unbelievable, really. I've seen clogged up stuff before, but nothing like that. I think that was a bartender's name, Rusty Glitter. Yeah, it probably was. Definitely somewhere there's a bartender out there called Rusty Glitter. But anyway, it was not good. So we're going to get a new tank. The good news is that I can get one on Rock Auto, my buddies at Rock Auto, for $109 delivered to my door here in Kazakhstan. So that's pretty decent. And then this POR15 kit that you use, you can get a smaller one for the motorcycle tanks. You can get a larger one for the automotive style up to, I think, 22 gallons. This tank's only 17 gallon. That'll do the whole fuel system. So we're going to be coating her, and we'll put her back in there, and we'll probably never have another speck of trouble ever again. I know my sending unit works because it was showing me the right amount of gas in the tank. I think I drained off, what are those 5 liters? Well, 5 liters was all that was in there. I purposely ran it low on gas so that when I actually get under there and took those, I don't know if any of you guys have ever got on your back underneath the vehicle and taken those gas tank straps off and then had the pleasure of having the weight of the tank come down on top of you. But it's not so bad with the Ranger. It's just a small tank compared to some of them. I had a Suburban one time. It had a 40-gallon fuel tank, and that was unbelievable, the weight of that thing when it was full. You need straps about 2 inches thick in order to handle the weight of that. But anyway, so that's what's going on with that old girl. Yeah, a fair amount of motorcycle stuff on the go, but it's kind of slow right now. There's not too much. It's because the weather's been crappy. That video I put up yesterday showing the snow, that was about a week and a half ago here. Almost 2 weeks ago. So things have improved since then. Today was actually pretty warm. It was 27 degrees Celsius, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. I have no idea. 80, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word. But there's been some good days in a row here. We've had 4 or 5 days of sun, fairly decent heat. So I've been out on my motorcycle riding it and got some miles on her. So that's good. Once that happens, we'll have probably more work on the go. I've got a few jobs right now, but nothing compared to what is normal. So right now I'm using the opportunity to do stuff that I need to do anyway that I've been putting off. So we're trying to get some things done around here. Dancer's name, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it could be the Seventh Veil, eh? Is Rusty Glitter in? I don't know. Let me check. Anyway, doing the old Donkaroo. Yeah, Art, if you see correctly, I'm wearing your shirt today, buddy. It was up next on the list when I took my shower there, and it was on the to go next list. Will's got cheesecake. Right on. What kind of cheesecake? Not that it matters. It's all good. But anyway, yeah, so that's kind of what's been happening around here. Like I was saying to you guys there on Art's live, cutting the grass and stuff. And surprisingly enough, even though we got snow 2 weeks ago, the damn grass is growing because it was wet and rainy for 3 or 4 days straight there. And once you get a lot of rain here with the humidity, and then you get some sunny days, everything just grows like mad. So another thing I'm doing is I'm growing potatoes and tires this year. So I drug a bunch of tires, old car tires, over to the garden here and filled them with earth and painted them white, because apparently they get quite hot in those black tires. So you paint them white, and it helps with the potatoes, helps them grow a little bit easier. So regular cheesecake, huh? And you can't. It's hard to go wrong with cheesecake, buddy. Nice. Yes, sir. Got it when I went to the Buffalo restaurant. Oh, yes. Right on. You can see my hammerhead in the background here. That's old Dutch. He's 15 years old. He actually is 15, because I can tell you right now what year he was born. 2006. That's what you got to do, Art. If this guy that says he's got the 28-year-old dog, just ask him really quickly, what year was the dog born? And to give him like a second to answer you. Hoppy's Junkyard. What's going on, buddy? Hoppy's Junkyard Rally. What's happening, man? Good to see you on here. And what's Will saying here? The cheesecake also came with this weird berry juice. Oh, yeah? Was it tasty, the weird berry juice, or was it just like to sprinkle onto the cheesecake, I'm assuming? What's up, Hoppy? Oh, bear with me, lads. I got to have a few drinks of this Poppy. Oh, that's fine stuff. I can see now why the English drink this. It's not cheesecake good, but it's good. Yeah, Will, so I noticed you were on the Power Nation today, and you were checking out that 302 they're building with the LS style Systemax or whatever, Holly EFI setup. That's pretty cool, eh? The high-rise manifold with the 44-pound injectors or whatever. It made some pretty decent power, too. I think he said it was 60 over. I didn't catch what the compression ratio of that thing was, but they were using Keith Black hyper-eutectic pistons in it. And it made, what did it make, 390 some horse? Something like that. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be a fantastic boost motor, because you already have everything right there. It's just quickly able to just convert it over, right? You took the Mini racing yesterday, Hoppy. Well, I hope you got some video of that. That'd be definitely cool to see. $60 over, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, 391 was and it was like 354 torque or something like that. It was pretty stout little motor. For basically a 302, essentially 60 over 302, like whatever that makes it, a 308 or 306 or something like that. But it's not a 306, but like it'd be like a 308 or 310 or whatever it is. But it's the same as the same. I got one up. Oh, okay, I'm gonna check that out then. I don't know why I get the bell notification clicked on your channel, Hoppy, but I don't get your notifications a lot of the times. So yeah, you guys can do that on my channel too if you want. Click the bell and all the notifications, and make sure you like this video. That helps us for sure. More than 306, yeah, I knew, because I think a 30 over 302 is a 306 technically. What were they saying here? Spun it in every gear with slicks, all the boost. Spun in every gear with slicks, all the boost. Yeah, well, there you go, man. What did you do to upgrade the timing chain guide on the Mini? Is what Dr. Eric wants to know. Had to set a reminder to get a notification of your live feed, and it was still late. Yeah, I don't know why that happens, but it happens quite often where you set a reminder, and then the thing's been streaming. I think what you have to do is you have to refresh your page whenever it gets close to the time. Otherwise, you'll get the notification that they're live like 10 or 15 minutes into the deal. Yeah, I can't wait to see that video. That'll be neat. Spun in every gear with slicks. Yeah, there you go. But anyway, yeah. Still stock, yeah. Oh, that's just lovely, boys. Lovely. Oh. So yeah, I still need to do more body work to the Ranger too, but I guess having a running truck would be a step in the right direction. The season is short enough as it is up here in Canada to drive these things. So when you're down with this problem, it really sucks because you should be out driving it right now. But anyway, whatever, I digress. I'll order the parts from Rock Auto. It shouldn't be more than a week to get them, I hope. And then it's going to take a day or so. The whole process of coating the tank, you can do it in a day, but it takes, I think they ask 72 hours or 48 hours or something like that before you put fuel in it. So I can still put it up in the truck and connect the filler neck, and I'm gonna sprinkle $9 more extra out and get 2 new gas tank straps. I think the old girl deserves that at least. We'll throw some new straps into her. But anyway, yeah, the season's so short. But there are some dudes though that still don't even have their cars out. I think Nick Panaritis was getting his Challenger out this week was the plan. But right now he's got about I think 20 engines or something he's building there at the moment. So they're going like hog wild. So he doesn't have a lot of time, right? But that's not my excuse because I'm not hog wild at the moment. So I have time to do it, but it's just getting it done. And you know, like old vehicle. I mean, that's why I'm not relying on it right now because really, let's be realistic. The truck's what, 37 years old? It's the original Ford fuel tank that's in it. So it doesn't owe me anything. And I was actually expecting the gas tank to be a lot more expensive than that. So, I mean, for $109 Canadian money, what's that like $1.50 American? Anyway, and, like, you know, that's pretty reasonable, I think, for a fuel tank. And the vent and everything works good, and my filler necks and everything are good. But I do want to get at that driver's side door. There's some problems there I noticed on the lower side when I was doing the fender I need to address. Either take the door off the green bastard or fix what I got. So we'll have to just dig through the paint and just see what's in there. First of all, if it's a whole pile of bodywork and nonsense, well, I'll either cut it out and patch in a panel, or I'll just go steal the door off the other truck. I mean, it's sitting right there. I'll just put the black door on the just to keep it sealed inside. Because there is a really good bench seat in that green truck. It's a Ranger bench seat, which are kind of cool. I'm thinking what I might do with that seat is take it out of there and just weld a couple of legs on it and just make a shop chair. So when I'm, in between coats or in between welding or doing something, I can just go have a seat. I've seen lots of shops where they have old car seats and stuff, old back seats that are like big old Buicks or whatever, and they, or those old big LTDs, the Bromes, and they just throw legs on them and they just make a chair out of them, right? So that'd be kind of neat. You can never have enough junk in your yard, boys. I'm telling you, if you ever think, well, maybe I got enough junk laying around, nah, you need more. you can never have enough garbage. You need more junk. All right, just remember that. And see, my process is I'm not a hoarder, but the minute you go and need something and you don't have it, you probably had it and then you threw it away or something because you didn't think you'd ever use it, right? That's always seems to be the thing. And it's nice having a parts vehicle around when you're driving something, like pre-90s or even 90s stuff. If you're into that, it's good to have a parts car, right? Jeez, Art and Eric, I don't know how you guys even made your barbecue yet. You probably didn't even eat. Because we were just on yours, not that long ago. Your live stream there. Super nice one I took out of mine. Wish it was cheaper to ship stuff. Yeah, it costs a fortune, dude, to ship anything right now. I don't know. They're lost their minds. Yeah, but the Ranger bench seat's actually pretty good quality. It's decent. Like, it's not tore up or beat up or anything. It's actually pretty good. So I'll probably do something with it, I'm sure. There was a guy in Kijiji last week looking for one, but I'm not going to get rid of that. They're hard to get now, believe it or not. You wouldn't think that a bench seat for a Ranger would be hard to find, but there's not a ton of them around. Everything's valuable to somebody, right? I don't call it Happy's Junkyard for nothing. Yeah, man, you get it. You understand what I'm trying to say here, for sure. Absolutely, you do. But anyway, if there's anybody listening that's out there in internet land and they got problems with their ATV or they want to come on here and ask questions, by all means, do it. I don't mind answering you here in live time. I told you guys that before in one of my other videos. If you had problems or whatever, I'd help you out. You got a bench in your 86. That's cool. I'll take a picture of it this week, Art, and put it on my community post just so we can compare motifs. You might have like a different type of bench seat than I've got. This one's an original Ranger one for sure. So I remember those trucks when they came out. I had a friend in high school had one that his father had bought brand new in 84, 85. And it had that seat that I got in this one. I know because I sat in it. We used to take that little truck everywhere, right? Off-road. But anyway, I don't know if you guys were on, Jody was, but I don't know if you guys were on 50 Tussin put a new video up today of him putting his Flowtech heads on his engine. Go check that out. He's quite a dude, Rodney. I like him a lot, man. But anyway, he was right. He put the heads on and then he's running some Crowler cam and I don't know what exactly. I didn't really check the specs, but it's quite a bit of lift. And he was trying to run 1.7 roller rockers. So he did the old test-a-rooney there with the modeling clay, and he found out he didn't have any room at all. So then he went to 1.6 ratio rockers, and he did the model test, and he still was like, she's a little tight. Because as a general rule, you're supposed to have like 100,000 on the exhaust, 80 on the intake-ish. He didn't say what the numbers were, but if Rodney's saying it's tight, it's probably pretty tight. And he's been spinning that LTD up to the moon. He bought a set of Lunati valve springs for it, Beehive LS type springs. I think they're made by Pack Racing, but they're very expensive springs. They're like, he said he paid more for the springs than he did for the entire head, for the heads, right? But they had them on the flow bench, boys, and my numbers that I posted on my channel here were no lie. Actually, he got higher numbers, more lift, doing the same thing essentially I did to mine. So I mean, they will support 500 horsepower all day long if you just clean them up, right? No, it's not a solid roller. It's just like a Crowler 15345. It's a roller. It's a hydraulic roller. But he went from the Ford stock roller lifters to Comp Cam style high rev type roller lifters. So, because he's spinning that thing hard, right? And actually, Rodney probably could benefit from a stud girdle, I would be guessing. I don't know why he doesn't put one of those on. It's either that or go to a Jessel shaft mount system, which is big bucks. But you can get those stud girdles fairly reasonable. And for the amount of RPM he's running, it would probably stabilize his valve train quite a bit, I would be thinking. He's leaving, I think, around 6,400 RPM or higher, as you can tell by all the daylight he gets under the tires. But anyway, just as a word of note, he weighed the GT40 cast iron head that he had on there, and it weighed 49 point something pounds, 53 pounds. And the Flowtex are 23.69 pounds each. So it was over a 50-pound weight savings, almost 60 pounds by going to aluminum over those cast iron heads. Plus they flow a whole lot more. So I think you're going to see old Rod's going to be in the low sixes. He was running, I think his best pass was like a 658 or something to that effect. You'll probably see him now down in the 620s. Or maybe even a little better once he gets this new combo sorted out. It's not really a new combo. I mean, he's running most of the same stuff, but it's still a 250,000 mile plus stock Ford 5.0 short block. He's not running no crazy race setup or anything on that thing. And look what he's doing with it, without nitrous, without turbos, without superchargers. It's all old school and gear and nasty is what it is, right? So that spurs me on, making me want to try and do what I can do with what I have, rather than rely on, some people call it the easy way out. I don't think anytime you're dealing with forced induction, there's anything really easy necessarily about it. If anything, it can be even harder to get the combo dialed in, especially if you're fuel injected and you don't know how to tune it. You have to take it to somebody, right? But anyway, I digress again. So yeah, I've just been doing some homebody stuff of gardening and whatnot, and we're getting ready to plant our vegetables for the year and growing potatoes and tires and whatnot. The trees are all blossoming out here. We got the apple blossoms out on the apple trees. It's quite nice down here. I did get hauled over by the cops the other day when I was riding. They had a check stop just outside of town here, and they kind of motioned for me to stop, but they didn't. So I kept on rolling. I wasn't going to stop. So then when he goes, we're checking safety inspection stickers. I said, well, it's on the leg. I just had it done like a week ago, so I'm good for 2 years. Here in Nova Scotia, you have to do it. It's good for 2 years. Used to be 1 year, but it's 2 years now. So they check the brakes, and I do them all the time. Check the brakes. They check the tires. They check for leaking fluids. They check for original equipment. They don't like aftermarket exhaust systems and loud mufflers and all that sort of jazz, right? They're starting to crack down on all that up here now, But anyway, I was good to go. So he made some comment about, well, things are good, eh? And I'm like, well, I said, there's always something you can complain about. I said, but nobody listens anyway. So then I just put my visor down and sped off, right? And that was the end of that. Was it a solid? Yeah, hydraulic flat or roller cam. Pick to your email. Yeah, cool. Yeah, we should have like a bench seat challenge, boys. Everybody send pictures of your bench seat in, so we can compare seats. That'd be fun. And I'll start it off on the community post this week on my channel. You guys can just add whatever, or if you want, just email me the picture and I'll put it up there. We'll call it the bench seat challenge. I saw a video of a cop that had literally stopped someone for loud exhaust. Was it in Canada by chance? Not to say that's the only place where that happens. I know it isn't, because I have some American buddies that tell me stuff from time to time. The way it works up here is usually around this time of hashtag bench seat challenge. You got her, man. The way it works up here is they forget they even have a motorcycle until about now, when the weather's getting good, and all of a sudden you're seeing all these bikes out on the road. Like, I actually saw 7 motorcycles and a trike tail end Charlie the other day, and that was the biggest bunch of riders I had seen yet this year. And I know, because I'm in the industry every day, all day. I see pretty well everything that happens in motorcycle around here. But so once that starts to occur, these guys realize, well, wait a minute, I got a bike, but it's broken. I put it away busted last fall, so we need to get it in to get it fixed. And then they're all calling. And of course, it's first come, first serve. So we just work at it until we get them all situated and all done. And that's the end of it. And then it's usually about a month steady of service work. Then we get into the bigger things, like, not quite as big as what I just did on that Raider, but we get into diffs and, like fork seals and, like, chain and sprocket, all that sort of stuff, right? Stripped drain plugs, that seems to be a winner. One guy had a brand new bike and he stripped the drain plug out of it first time trying to change the oil at home, which actually voids his warranty, but he was still trying to do it. And I understand why, because they want to save money, right? Probably California. Oh, for the noise. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Probably California. But any case, yeah, so that's usually how things go here. And then later on, they used to have this thing here called the Wharf Rat Rally, which was down in Digby, Nova Scotia. And there'd be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of motorcycles show up there. The cast from Sons of Anarchy actually was there one year. So popular of a place that they know all about it, even down in the States. Sturgis, all these guys, they know all about it. And they ride even from Sturgis to Black Hills. But of course now, with the way things are, nobody's coming across anymore, so that's all canceled. So, which is a shame for the town of Digby, because they depend a lot on that money that comes in from these people, right? You can imagine in a week how much extra funds they're making from the restaurant, gas sales, tobacco, liquor, whatever, around there, right? They make probably more in that week than they do like 8 months of the year any other time. So anyway, that's going to hurt the industry a little bit, because, I mean, that type of thing with all that exposure for motorcycles, that fuels my industry, essentially, right? And I mean, there's really not a lot of work to do in the wintertime here as it is, unless you're into skidoos and all that sort of thing. And that's snow dependent. And this year we only had about a week of deep enough snow to even ride a snow machine. So, that's up in the air too, right? But anyway. We do what we have to do, and we'll continue to fix stuff as it becomes broken. I've got another brute force here in the yard that needs some seal work, so I'll probably have a video about that. See, I don't have to go looking for stuff because it always finds me. So you guys were wondering if I schedule my videos. Well, I don't. They arrive usually in the nick of time. Sometimes I have to scramble to get them, like, I guess I sort of edit now. I mean, you probably see my stuff, and I'm editing a little bit of video now. I never ever did that before on my channel, but people seem to like that. They're turning your sled into a drag race machine. Lots of guys do that, Will. They have the grass drags. They used to have them every year, but they have drags on the grass where they run skidoos with big cleats on them so they can get traction. Only problem with running snow machines in the summertime is they get really hot, dude. Like that stuff's made for cold weather, right? It doesn't do too well in warm temperatures. Oh, they're fast. Don't get me wrong. We have a sled that Yamaha sells. It's a turbo 145 track sled that I think it makes over 200 brake horsepower. So it's capable of ridiculous speeds on the snow, like incredible. It's about $45,000 too, Canadian. So, but yeah, they make power. There's no question the way they're set up. I don't know. I've never really caught on to snowmobiles because I can't afford them anyway because they're very, very pricey, very high maintenance type deals. So it's really not my type of thing. But I understand why guys like to ride them. It's quite a thrill, I guess, right? But I mean, in every avenue, you're going to have somebody that wants to go fast. I mean, on the water, you get the jet skis, you get the jet boats, you know, the drag racing scene, motorcycle, snowmobile, you know, all that type of thing, right? But in any case, yeah. And you get the, I call it the stupid call of the week. We always get somebody that calls asking us ridiculous questions that make absolutely zero sense from any standpoint of mechanics, but that's to be expected, right? There's lots of people that think that because they saw something on the internet that it's true, or that's the way to do it, or this is another reason, guys, why I don't allow anybody into the shop when I'm doing mechanical work. I just cannot stand having a customer sitting there watching me. If you're going to watch, you're going to pay extra, if I even allow it, and I don't. I kicked 5 people out of the shop there one time last year in one day. And it hurts their feelings sometimes, and you can't be helped. I don't intentionally go about that to do that, but I mean, sometimes you just have to tell them, look, first of all, insurance doesn't cover you in here. And second of all, I despise having people watch me, do work, which is kind of weird in a way too, because I do YouTube videos about it, but it's different with video than it is having someone standing there, right? I don't know exactly how to explain that, or even if I am explaining it. When I had a sled, I drove Yamahas. Yeah, a lot of people like Yamaha snow machines. Ski-Doo is a very popular one up here as well. A lot of people call all snowmobiles Ski-Doos, and they're technically not. Ski-Doo is a brand name of snowmobile. The proper term is snowmobile or snow machine or whatever, or, you know, like Yamaha's got a fairly fast sled called an Apex. We have one of those in the shop. The owner owns it. And it's a pretty quick deal. It's an older machine too, which is even funnier. It's several years old. I think it's a 2008 or something like that, or 7. But yeah, they get pretty pricey when you start looking at some of the options and the features. But I mean, I hate to say this, but it's entirely true. All that stuff is basically, they're all toasters. And what I mean by that is, what do you do with a toaster when it only toasts one half of your bread? Do you fix it? Or do you just like huck it in the garbage and go buy another one? That's what you do, right? That's pretty well everybody does that. I don't even think there's a toaster repairman out there anymore. Years ago, you'd buy products like appliances and whatnot, and they were built like German tanks, and they'd last forever. And there was all kinds of companies and with parts that would go out and fix them and all that. Try finding that now. You know, it just doesn't exist. Everything's a toaster now. It's built by the lowest bidder, and usually it has a lot of inherent problems right from the get-go. Even with a warranty, I've always said warranties are only as good as the people that stand behind them or don't stand behind them. So it's just a piece of paper, essentially, right? But anyway, that's just the way it is. I mean, that's another reason, though, why I like I've said this before, I drive old junk. I've got an old truck and I've got an old motorcycle, and I drive old stuff because that stuff was built, right? I mean, here I am driving a 1984 Virago motorcycle, you know, with a lot of miles on it, and the thing's a tank. It's built like a friggin' tank. It'll go anywhere. It'll do anything pretty near that a modern bike will do. Maybe not quite as quick as some of this new stuff, but it's a V-twin that's got good torque. It's 61 cubic inches. That's more than enough to pull my big carcass down the road at kill you type speeds. Trust me, I've had her up over 100 a few times. The mirrors shake and the bike shakes because it's a solid mount. There's no rubber isolator or rubber motor mounts in there. It's solid to the frame. So you feel every single rotation of the crank. You're feeling it. But The old ones had soul. They were just built different. There was a different time. The bean counters didn't get involved. They weren't trying to build it for the least amount of money and the highest profits. They just wanted to build a good machine that people liked and that people would buy. And based on the reputation from that machine, they'd maybe buy another one from them. That's used to be the way it is. It's no longer that way. It's basically buy it, junk it, right? They're not even supplying parts for a lot of new stuff that, if you get 5 or 6 years out of a machine, the Japanese industry anyway, they consider that to be a write-off. So a lot of the parts for the older stuff, and by older, I mean 6, 7 years old, you go to look up on the computer to see where the part is or if there's a part available, and it says NLA, no longer available. You can't get it anymore, which means that the dealer or the manufacturer is not supporting it anymore. There isn't any. So people can ask for it, but they don't have it. They're not giving it away, or they're not making it anymore. So then your choices are get an old part from eBay, or if you happen to have somebody that's building that type of part because it's in demand privately. And there's lots of guys that are building stuff like that. Like if there's like maybe a certain fork brace for a motorcycle that you can't buy from the factory anymore, but people still ride that model and it's popular. So you'll have some enterprising guy build a bunch of them, usually at a better metal than the factory ones or whatever. Like that's kind of what I'm saying. But in any case, that's basically the industry. And it's unfortunate because it ends up being the consumer that ends up biting the bullet on it. But it's the way it is now, right? And it's the same with automobiles too. The way they're making them, I personally don't think I would buy or own anything old or like newer than like a 2008 as far as cars go. I just don't. I think that 2008-9 was around right when they started going to the super cheap. I mean, unless you're talking BMW here or like Mercedes-Benz or something like that. And even then, there's probably some compromise stuff that they're doing. I mean, there's a reason why guys like muscle cars, like Nick likes muscle cars, and we like the old pushrod type stuff because it's proven, man. I mean, look how long it's been around and how hard it's been beat on and how well it's lasted, right? And do you think anyone's going to be collecting a 2010 Dodge Neon in 40 years' time? I don't think anybody will be after any of that stuff. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think so, right? I think that's going to go the way of the dodo bird, right? They didn't really sell all that well when they were new and when they were supported, but now, you know, why would you even make parts for that anymore, right? That's kind of their mentality. See, they want you to buy a new car every year. That's their whole deal, right? They want you to trade it in, buy another one, get the latest model, right? Doesn't matter if the latest model's got like a faulty transmission that'll only last 100,000 kilometers. They don't care because they know you're not going to put 100,000 K on it, or most people aren't, other than crazy people like me that have a daily driver with like 360,000 K on it and don't care about that. But because, I mean, it's different if you fix your own stuff. You don't have to pay, I don't know what the shop rates are now, probably $120 an hour, $118 an hour. Labor costs, it adds up fast, right? So, I mean, if you have like a motor change or something, that's big money, you know. And if you don't have a manufacturer that's going to stand up and say, yeah, we're going to take care of the labor, or we're going to supply the engine, you pay for 20% of the labor or whatever it is, you're SOA, you're shit out of luck. You're left holding the doggy, so to speak. But anyway, that's kind of the way things are. What are you guys saying here? It's let it draw you through games. Yeah, the bench seat challenge, boys. So everybody's got to take a picture of their bench seat, and they got to run it. You send it over to me, and either post on my post or send me an email. If you want my email address, just ask for it. Post on my email, and then I'll put a picture of it up, and we'll try and get as many pictures of bench seats as we can. I think that'll be fun. It's just something to do, right? Something crazy to do. I mean, bench seats are not all that common anymore in the front seat. I mean, they are in the rear of a lot of vehicles, but not so much in the front. That used to be the only thing you could get like years ago. I mean, it was a bench seat or nothing pretty much. But anyway, that seems to be the way of it. But anyway, I'm trying to do a solid video a week. Sometimes I don't get more than that. It just happens to be the way it is that week. But anyway, I keep posting stuff on there, so I'm hoping you guys are enjoying the content. And make sure you comment on it if you do get anything out of it. You know, comment and leave me a share or a like or something. Help the channel out. We appreciate that. You know, it takes a lot of effort to have a channel, first of all, on YouTube, because you have to take the time and effort to make the videos. You have to try and make them interesting. Then you have to edit the videos. You have to try and do that properly. And it takes a tremendous amount of time to do it, right? So it's nice when people appreciate it and they tell you they appreciate it. And I've been lucky in that regard, because I've had people from all over the world contact me about machines that I've done videos on, and they're like, "Oh man, you helped me, you saved me a lot of money watching that." And like, that's why we're doing it, right? That's the main number one reason, is to do that, is to help folks out, right? And I'm not saying I know everything, because I don't. I learn stuff every day, all day, just like the rest of you. I've been in the industry for a while. I know a fair amount of things about mechanical type stuff, but there's always something to learn, right? And I don't really know a whole pile about the newer stuff, because it really isn't an interest of mine. Like, I know about sensors and how fuel injection works and all that type of thing, but as far as like computerized electronic steering, power steering, and all that sort of stuff, I'm just not interested in that. See, what happened is they added a whole bunch of complexity and a bunch of gadgets to these things in hopes that they could sell more parts, or maybe there's an expensive pump or something involved in the matrix of this whole mechanical device that tends to go, and it's $1,200 or $1,300, where they're hoping to sell some of them. So I mean, I hate to say it, boys, but this is the truth. I'm not fibbing you. This is exactly how it works, and they know it, right? You can be sure. So I mean, if you're going to buy anything and you're expecting to get reliability on it, I would highly suggest that you talk to a bunch of different people. Don't just listen to what you hear on the internet. Just talk to some folks maybe that might have had one. Hey, mechanics, what's up, man? Thanks for coming on here. Yeah, I love my old cars too, and for the reasons that I'm saying, the new stuff just doesn't have a soul, and it doesn't seem to hang on as well as the older stuff does, right? The old stuff's proven. It's proven itself over time to be reliable and to be decent, and especially to be a good value for the money. Like years ago, people didn't just go out and get into debt to buy things. They used to actually save money at their job until they had enough money to buy something. And it might have taken a long time. They might have had to sell just about everything they had in order to afford it. So that's used to be the way things were. So, I mean, when you bought something, you wanted to make good and sure that it was going to stay together and it was going to be quality. And to me, quality seems to be in the past more than it is in the future. So that's kind of where I gravitate towards, is the older stuff. But that opens its own can of worms, because some of these parts that used to be really common and readily available, like for instance, the fenders on my Ranger, CarQuest still has a listing for $72 a piece. But you can't get them for that anymore. They don't have that ability to get those anymore. You have to go to the States. And then anyone that's ever shipped anything to Canada knows that when it comes through the border, you just get raped on the price. So those $72 fenders now become $700 and something by the time they arrive here, after the shipping and the duties and 15% HST, which is the harmonized sales tax, and it just never ends. So, you just make do with what you got, right? I guess the theory behind all that. And it just seems that the older stuff has less problems. I mean, I'm not against fuel injection, because I've driven plenty of vehicles and bikes that have it. And when it works good, it's a great system. But carburetors, there's not much really can go bad on a carb. You're seeing it on my channel with my Ranger. That's all that can really go wrong with a carburetor. It gets plugged up with rust and dirt and whatever, right? And the Holly carbs are pretty easy to work on. I mean, they're not all that complex compared to some of the motorcycle carbs I've been in. You got a metering block. You've got you got a center hung float. You got a needle and seat assembly and some gaskets, and that's pretty much it. There's really not a whole lot else. Base plate and your assorted gaskets. If you are going to get a Holly, I do highly recommend though that you get the they call it the track kit or the quick fix track kit. It's got all those little washers and all those little hard to find parts. Plus, it's got like a power valve or two, and it's got accelerator pump diaphragms and a bunch of those other. If you were to buy them individual parts that are quite expensive, they just throw it all in the kit, and the kit's pretty reasonable. I get it on Summit. I think it was $40 or $42 or something plus shipping, and that's my price in Canada. So I don't know, they're dirt cheap in the USA, and it's got most of the parts that you're ever going to need for those anyway. You watch my video this week, you'll see that I actually did have to replace where the needle and seat goes down into the float where you screw it in. There's a little paper gasket under there. I had to take those because they had like a little tear on the edge of them. So I just stole 2 out of the kit and put them on there and put them down, and no leaks. So, but anyway, that's kind of where it is. But yeah, so that's pretty well all I really got to say. There's really not a whole lot else happening. We're just doing what we can with what we got available. Where parts are still hard to come by here. We've had some folks that have been waiting since January and February for certain motorcycle parts and just can't get it. We're having a bad time with that. I noticed too, Nick was he did a live Friday night, Nick's Garage. And he was saying that some of the stuff he normally gets from his brother. I think his brother owns an auto parts store there in Quebec. Anyway, they're having some troubles finding some things too that normally are quite easy to get. So for what it's worth, it's I don't know what the situation's like in the USA, but I know here in Canada, it's always been a pain to get parts, but it's even more so right now. Seems to be a real issue. So maybe it wouldn't hurt if you've got an old truck or like I got to pick up an extra wheel bearing or, get some other stuff. Some like Rock Autos, who I deal with mostly. Sometimes they have these, closing out sale where they get a line of parts for your old car that they're not going to stock anymore. Like old Wagner brake parts and stuff like that. Maybe go pick some of that up. And it's usually in the discount bin, so you can get it for a decent price. I think I paid for a set of brake shoes like $10 or something for a set of Wagner brake shoes, still in the original package, mind you, right from the 80s, and they're brand new. There's absolutely zero wrong with them, and just throw them on the shelf just to have them. Like my old Virago, I've got an extra throttle cable and an extra clutch cable in case one of them breaks and I'm not able to get parts. Well, I've got a set already. I just hung them up. I hang them up in my shop, and if I need them, I got them, right? And I should probably stock some more axle seals for some of these common ATVs because a lot of guys are in the mud and water here, and they're pooching them out all the time. You can buy like a diff seal kit for $30 or $40, and it comes with most of the major seals that you probably need. That's for the front, and then there's a seal kit for the rear. But we don't generally do CV axles anymore, repairs. We used to, but we found that it's more cost effective to buy a ready-made axle that's already assembled. It seems to be cheaper that way, believe it or not, to buy the whole axle and just pull the old axle out and put the new axle in, all greased, boot clamps, everything ready to rock and roll. You don't have to deal with it anymore, because that is one of the nastier jobs, boys, is taking them boots off, disassembling the joint and then repacking it, re-greasing it. It's quite a bad job. No fun, right? No fun at all. But anyway, yeah, so I guess I'll call her quits here for tonight. Thank you to everybody that popped on. I appreciate all you guys. Like I said, if anybody's watching and they have ATV, motorcycle, side-by-side, hot rod questions, send them off to me. I'd be more than happy to either give you the answer or find you the answer, one or the other. just ask away, boys. If you look at any of my older videos, troubleshooting or whatnot, you'll see that I answer all the questions. People ask me stuff from all over the place. I get questions from Poland and from the Netherlands, all over the world, and I always answer everybody. Give them an answer. Or if they're troubleshooting, I try and help them figure out where they are in the whole process, and then give them a suggestion where I would go next. And that's helped quite a few people in the past. So yeah, thanks for coming on, Will. Always a pleasure having you on here, my man. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Again, send us pictures of your bench seats, and we're going to do the bench seat hashtag bench seat challenge. So when I get all those pictures, I'm going to do a post up, and we'll stick them all up there, and that ought to be fun. So anyway, peace out. Thumbs up for War Amp. Stay classy. All right. See you, boys.